Welcome back to Susan Dawn Spiritual Connections. Welcome to a very special twin flame reading. This one is going to be for the Divine Feminine. If you missed the Divine Masculine reading, go ahead and check out the links in the description box below. So I had shared a little bit of an intro in the Divine Masculine reading, and I'm going to share that a little bit here. I'm an intuitive reader, which means that I don't really go by spreads. I'm just picking up on the energy, and I use tarot cards as a tool to help focus that energy that I'm already receiving. But when I was creating the Tarot in Translation online video course, I also created a collection of tarot spreads that's available now on SusanDawnSpiritual.com as its own collection. And in it we have, for example, the Lover spread, we have the Tarot Moments spread, we have the Sacred Self-Love spread, and I also created something called Shadows and Light, the Shadows and Light spread. And shadow work is extremely important to me. I think that's one of the most important aspects of our journey. Shadow work is connecting with oneself and going deep within oneself to understand oneself. And shadow work is not just about unveiling the shadows, but also about recognizing your light. And recognizing your light is recognizing your love, recognizing your connection to yourself, recognizing your connection to God's source. It's not denying your strengths, not denying your gifts. Part of the shadow might be suppressing those gifts and suppressing that light in order to conform, or in order to adhere to a certain status or situation or likability or whatever it is. But part of shadow work is actually acknowledging and recognizing your light as well. And so shadow work, yes, it's about understanding and healing the trauma and all that, what I like to call soul sludge, all that dense, heavy energy. But it's also about that second level, that second layer, that higher heart ascension is about embodying and embracing the love and the light that you truly are. And first, you have to go deep into the shadows of yourself in order to really understand the light and the love that you are. And light and love isn't just a cliche. It is a very real aspect of the sacredness of yourself. It's become very cliche, but I think that when you do the shadow work, it's like that's when you get to the raw and the real. When you've seen your darkness, that's when you really begin to understand your light and your love. And so it's incredibly important to me, and I shared in the Divine Masculine reading as well that when I get back from my adventures, we're going to have some workshops around shadow work as well. You can also check out the Healing and Harmony series on my website. It's an activation series. There is an oracle reading, channeling, and a light language activation that are like according to keywords. So if you're healing certain wounds around abandonment or projection or betrayal or the karmic situation, then you can check out the specific activations and videos in that series, or you can get the complete series for all of the healing activations and transmissions and channelings. It was extremely helpful for me to channel that information. So you can check it out as you would like at SusanDawnSpiritual.com. We're going to do something special today. Just like the Divine Masculine reading, we're going to do a Divine Feminine reading according to this set spread, which is asking about the energy of the current moment, basically. We're going to go ask questions about how is the energy affecting their life, how is the energy shifting, what do they need to know. So we're going to dive a little bit deeper into the shadow and the light aspect of the Divine Feminine today. And it was a powerful reading for the Divine Masculine. I hope that you guys enjoyed it, and I hope that you enjoy this as well. We might explore some of my other set spreads as we go along, just to kind of mix things up a little bit. So let's see about the Divine Feminine, please. We're going to pull one card for the overall energy of what we're going to be focusing on today, and then we'll get into the specific questions of the spread. So, Spirit, what do we need to know about the Divine Feminine today? What do we need to know about the Divine Feminine? Spirit, what do we need to know about the Divine Feminine? Oh, okay. We have the Magician and the Mirror. Speaking of mirrors, right? Speaking of doing that shadow work and looking deep into the mirror of yourself. This energy feels very healing, though. This energy feels like I'm getting almost like the strength card. It's this energy of courage. It's this energy of being who you are. It's almost like the high priestess slash the magician all combined. And I want to explain that for a minute to really understand what it is that I'm getting from this energy. So, the magician is somebody who has all the tools and all the resources. And I'm also getting at the magician as somebody as above, so below. Somebody who is very connected. In many respects, the high priest or the magician can be kind of congruent with the high priest in that they have this higher level knowledge, they have this higher level intuition. It can kind of be like the masculine energy of the high priestess. The hierophant is kind of like the high priestess's match, but I think in this instance, with the energy that I'm receiving, it can be the magician as well, in that he has all the wisdom of his previous journeys. And even though the fool is starting out on a new journey and the magician is kind of like a mentor in that respect, I feel like the magician has gone through his own journey, and that way he's able to be a guide. He's able to shine some light for the fool who's on his journey. Um, in the traditional major arcana of the tarot. And I feel like in that respect, he's recognizing that he has all the tools, the magician that is. He has the cup, and I'm hearing the cup of wisdom, which is interesting. But that the cup represents emotions, emotional balance, emotional maturity, emotional integrity, being able to hold that space within oneself and for others. But also that wisdom, a cup of wisdom, that's what it feels like. It's very interesting energy there. He has the wand's energy, and the wand actually is that as above, so below, manifest in the physical form. So the magician is a creator, but is able to pull that down into physical form. And that's where we're getting the balance of the masculine and the feminine energy. Because the masculine and the feminine energy working in tandem, working in union, has both. The feminine energy is the one that creates or imagines, and the masculine energy, the active energy, is the one who puts it into physical form. Um, you can think of it as in, I mean, one of the best examples is just simply in relationships, simply in dating. The divine feminine, says, let's go out on a date, let's go out tonight. And the masculine puts it into physical form. I mean, it's as simple as that. But you can look at it in the form of business. The feminine energy has the creativity and the ideas, and the masculine energy puts it into physical form. And that's your masculine energy within, of course. So it's interesting how it plays a part, that masculine and feminine dance, that masculine and feminine polarity really play a part in our everyday life, and really in the global collective. And that's why we always say, take this not just for your relationship and your connection. You're on this journey, this twin flame journey, this sacred union journey, as a path of your ascension where you met a partner to catalyze you. But it's your own inner journey as well. And when you understand it's your inner journey, then you really begin to understand what twin flames are, because twin flame is part of you as you. Yes, it's somebody in another physical body, but from the highest perspective, that soul essence, that energy, you're in essence the same. And that's what that connection is. But don't fix, don't attach, don't, there's no need to affix or attach to specific people. It's within you. It's always within you. There's no separation there. But it's also within the global collective, because it's all one unity consciousness. So it's also within the global collective, and what plays out individually will also play out in some way, shape, or form in the collective consciousness. So the masculine and feminine essence can be seen even in nature. We channeled many months ago, I think it was last year, the energy of the waterfalls, and how the feminine energy is the water and the flow, that wild flow, and the masculine energy is the earth that contains the water. And if the masculine energy did not hold the container, the structure, and the integrity of the water, being the earth, being the flow of water, then that feminine energy, that water would just flood and go everywhere. So the masculine energy is incredibly grounding, incredibly powerful, and it's a beautiful container for the feminine's energy. And I feel like we underestimate the power, the magic that the masculine energy has. We're talking about the feminine energy here, but it's to understand that you have both within you. And I feel as if the feminine energy is really anchoring into the masculine energy within them. This is their inner union. And so the magician here, going back to the magician, as above, so below. That's the union. And he has the sword, the clarity, the truth, the integrity, the expression, and he has the pentacles, all of the material goods in abundance that he needs to ground it into the physical. Now, what's interesting is I was also getting the energy of like the high priestess, which is that intuitive nature. It's that feminine energy, really tapped into your emotions, really tapped into the connection with God's source, with the universe, and that esoteric knowledge and that esoteric wisdom, and using that to guide her, using that intuition to guide her. And that's what this feels like. This magician in the mirror feels like a really beautiful balance. They're just calling me to the number 53 comes down to an 8 number, and that's the infinity sign. That's not just abundance, but that's the infinite nature of the universe. And the infinite nature of the universe is balance and is abundant in that balance by nature. It's all about the bridging of the polarities. It's all about the bridging of duality and recognizing it's not one or the other. Temperature, it's this is the greatest way I've ever understood it. Spirit once shared with me that temperature is just a gauge. Temperature is one thing. It's not hot or cold. It's varying degrees of hot or coldness. But we tend to think in black and white of it's hot or it's cold. Well, what might be hot to one person might be lukewarm to another, might be cold to another. It's all varying degrees of the same thing. And that's what energy is. It's all varying degrees of energy. We experience that energy in different ways according to where we are, where our levels of consciousness are, where our frequencies are, etc. And so that's what this energy feels like. It feels like really coming into that union of self, really coming into that balance, and understanding within that balance the wisdom that you have within you. So that being said, what we're gonna do is we're going to go a little bit deeper in the shadows and light spread and see what's going on here. So what is the source of this energy? What is the source of this energy? What is this telling us today? What's the basic groundwork and foundation of this energy that we need to know here? What's going on for the divine feminine? Interesting. We had the Six of Cups in the same position for the divine masculine. So these readings really are mirrored. They really are in tandem. And I feel like I had mentioned as well that in the masculine reading, there was some inner child healing and nurturing that was coming through. And I had mentioned that I was experiencing that with my own inner child and calling back, not just calling back fragments of myself. That had been done over the course of these past several years, but really just allowing myself to embody and embrace the innocence and the joy of my inner child. And that was really coming to the forefront with my birthday, where I was having a back to the 80s party, and just bringing out all my old toys and allowing myself to just get really nostalgic. And it's not nostalgic from a place of attachment. It's not nostalgic from a place of rose-colored glasses or longing. It's nostalgic from a place of just pure joy and fun. And it's really allowing myself to tap into that inner child and who I was before I let society conform me, or I conformed to society, or before I became a people pleaser. And I'm calling back those aspects of myself, and it's a very empowering kind of nostalgia. It's a very empowering kind of energy. I allowed myself to play with my dolls, not play, but I was going through my old dolls. I found them and was going through their clothes and putting them in their right clothes, and it was just really just nurturing. And even my mom, who was with me, she said, I feel like I'm 20 years younger just watching you and seeing all these toys. And I'm like, that's the innocence of it. And the balance is that I'm a mature woman, and I can recognize my maturity, and I can recognize my womanhood and my sensuality and my wild feminine energy. But I can also embrace and love the inner child and the joy that she emits. And so I felt like that was my inner masculine that was giving me the safe container with which to express all of that. Because my with my inner masculine, I felt safe. I feel safe to be able to express all aspects of myself. So it was a really beautiful energy, and I feel like that's what's happening here. There's an inner child healing, an inner child nurturing, an inner child reclaiming that might be happening with some nostalgia. But it's interesting because it's like both, it's happening for both of you, and you're both playing a part in this. The masculine had a very specific message, and I feel like the specific message for the divine feminine is that the divine feminine is recognizing that she can express herself within the presence and container of the masculine. Now, if that's not yet feeling right in the physical, remember, we pick up on the energy first. If it doesn't feel good in the physical yet, for example, if there are still like behaviors and actions and whatever of the partner masculine, the physical person, that is not reflective of a higher state of consciousness, that's not reflective of a higher embodiment, then you don't have to engage. But this could be your inner masculine as well. Allowing yourself to feel safe to express yourself within that inner masculine energy. So it's really beautiful energy here. I want to see if we can get one more card just to further look into this. Anything else that we need to know about the source of this current energy that we need to know about? This feels so very much like inner union. That's too much. This feels very much like inner union here. Yeah. The Nine of Pentacles is just giving me this energy of stability, and you have the Six of Swords to clarify, which is calmer waters, leaving the past behind. And I'm also getting leaving that, like the conflict, especially within the mind space, the confusion, the conflict, the lack of clarity. You have all that stability and that balance within yourself now, and I feel like that's that energy of self-empowerment where you're recognizing that. And I feel like because of that, there's a lot of stability within your physical world that is manifesting. At the very least, if it hasn't manifested, it's beginning to manifest. Opportunities, material abundance, stable finances, just beautiful growth within your physical life. You're moving towards almost like everything. They're reminding me that the Seven of Swords comes after the Six of Swords, and even though you're moving into calmer waters, there might be a little bit of a caution to not let self-sabotaging tendencies pull you back into old energy. So there's just a little bit of a cautionary energy to be very mindful and be very aware of your thoughts, of your actions, of your patterns, etc., so that you're not pulled back into old energy, self-sabotaging energy. But for the most part, this is just moving forward into steadier seas, into calmer waters, into much more peaceful, balanced life, basically. So how is this affecting your life? Divine Feminine, how is this affecting your life? It's just this beautiful energy of balance here. How is this affecting your life? Well, just saw the Lovers, but that was a huge pile. How is this affecting your life? How is this affecting your life? The Hierophant there, we were just talking about him, weren't we? Again, the Hierophant is the energy of higher wisdom as well. It's my ascension card. It's my awakening card. It's my higher level ascension. I'm also getting this energy of the Hierophant as a masculine energy is also very grounded. So with the true match of the High Priestess is the divine feminine energy, where she's very connected to God's source, very connected to the universe. Now, I'm going to have a caveat here. For those of you who have not been on this channel for a while, to remember that you have both masculine and feminine energies within you. So when we're talking about the feminine, when we're mentioning the feminine, yes, this is for those of you who are core feminine. It could also be for those of you who are just connecting to your inner feminine. You could be male or female, it doesn't matter. You can be a masculine core energy or a feminine core energy. Pick up on this reading as it resonates for you. You might be watching this reading for your inner feminine or your inner masculine. So just take it as it resonates for you. And when we say that the feminine is connected to God's source, it does not mean that the masculine is not connected. It is the feminine energy within either of you, because you both have both energies. So say there's a male masculine, they're connected through their inner feminine to God's source. Okay, so when we're saying that the feminine's connected to God's source, we're not saying the masculine isn't. It's the feminine energy within either of you or both of you. That's the one that's connected. The feminine energy connects. There's not one higher the other. There's not a superior. There's not you just have this core essence of where you feel most at home, what your core polarity is, so to speak. So the feminine is the one that's connected to God's source, the universe. She has that intuitive notion, and she expresses herself within that intuition, within that heart space. The Hierophant, conversely, is that masculine energy, where he has that esoteric wisdom, he has that understanding, and he has that knowledge, but he grounds that into the physical plane. And that can come out as sometimes more societal features or more traditional features. For example, it could come out more, I'm just getting the energy of like community or churches. Sometimes it's related to religion, but religion has become so corrupted in that way. It's more along the lines of just a physical structure. So, for example, if you're having a spiritual gathering, the spiritual nature of it is the feminine energy. It's the intuitive connectedness, and the gathering is the masculine energy, the groundedness, the coming together, the action. So that's the Hierophant energy. So I feel like this energy is really grounding within the feminine. And by grounding, we mean embodying. She is embodying her higher self. She is embodying all the tools and all the resources. Again, that magician energy, all the tools and the resources that she has learned on this journey. And that's where she's stepping into the next phase of her higher heart ascension. And that's where she's stepping into the next phase of her life. That's where she's stepping into the next phase of just her intuitive embodiment. It's a really beautiful energy. It's very grounded here. It's a very grounded spirituality, and that is what spirituality is meant to be. Spirituality is not meant to be flighty. It's meant to be very grounded. When we're saying, bringing heaven to earth, the kingdom of heaven is within you, you're still human form. And it's about grounding that spirituality and that understanding, the knowledge, the wisdom into practical application within your human experience. Because you're having a human experience for a purpose, for a reason. You're here for a purpose, for a reason. It's not about denying either aspect of yourself. When we say that people are quote unquote awakening, they're awakening, yes, to their true nature as soul. They're awakening to their true nature as a divine being. But you don't deny the human aspect of yourself. In fact, you embrace that more within the context of I am a soul having that human experience. So beautiful energy. What difficult truth must the divine feminine accept about this situation or herself? What difficult truth? The lovers, look, the lovers are showing itself again, but there's so many cards, I'm not going to take it. But what difficult truth must the divine feminine accept about this situation or herself? Difficult truth. Judgment. She's being called to rise. It's almost like she's been given a second chance. It's almost like she's been given this is rebirth energy. So it's like she's been given the second chance at like life. And I feel like that's the phase of the higher heart ascension. When you're going through your ascension or your spiritual awakening, and there are many layers. It's not just once and done. There are many layers of your awakening journey and of your spiritual ascension. So I feel like as in general, as we go through our ascension and our spiritual journey, we can risk getting stuck in one or the other. And I feel like what's happening here is she is recognizing the groundedness, the human application. And I feel like has given birth, or is giving birth to a new life for herself within that spiritual context. And I feel like this is very physical. I feel like this is coming out in physical manifestations. Now, this doesn't have to mean that you're actually doing a spiritual practice. You can be a gardener. You can be working at the Home Depot. You can be a teacher, a doctor, a plumber. Whatever it is that you're doing, but you carry the tools and the resources with you, and apply that within the context of how do you connect with other people? How do you relate to your clients? How do you speak to your customers? How do you do life? You do life differently. You're doing it from a different level of consciousness. So I feel like this is like a second chance at life. And it's like there's this rebirth, but from a higher level of understanding, a higher level of awareness, a higher level of consciousness, truly. Um, I feel like Divine Feminine, there has been one of the greatest challenges for you is not suppressing yourself and dimming your light for the sake of other people. Divine Feminine, I feel like you have always been maybe too modest or too humble. In fact, society actually makes you, especially for females, feminines, but feminine energy in general, I feel like society has made you second guess yourself, doubt yourself, dim your light, hold yourself back. And I feel like this energy here is, again, being called to rise into your true nature, being called to rise to your true purpose, to your true mission. And what is your true purpose and your true mission is to shine your light as brightly as you can. That's part of your evolution. That's part of what you've been doing on this journey is you've been clearing out all that heavy soul sludge and all that dense energy so that you can shine brighter. That's part of your shadow, is recognizing where you hid yourself away or suppressed yourself and where you dimmed your light for the sake of others. And for Divine Feminines, a lot of that came down to people pleasing. And if you understand this, the mirroring that happens between the Divine Masculine and the Divine Feminine, you both do the same thing, but you may approach it from different angles, from different experiences. But it's the same core wound. You will always have the same core wound. If you peel back the layers of your experiences, the root cause, the same core wound, it's going to be there. Whether that's abandonment or rejection or whatever it is. There's a bunch of different core wounds. Whatever it is. And I feel like Divine Feminines, for you, it might have been and there's a lot of people pleasing, a lot of even being a pushover, like being a doormat in some ways. That could be used to describe this energy. And it's like you're being called to not do that anymore. And that's where your journey has taken you, not to do that anymore. And part of your shadow work was asking yourself, where were you doing that? Where were you giving your power away? Where were you holding yourself back? That's where your shadow resides, and that's where you have to shine light on your shadow. But when they're saying shine light on your shadow, again, it's not dimming your light, but shining your light, like literally shining your light, your heart light, so that your heart light is shining brightly, because you're not meant to dim yourself. So, Divine Feminine, I feel like keep looking at all those places in your life. Keep uncovering those shadows. Keep looking at all those hidden aspects of yourself where you might still be dimming your life, where you might still be holding yourself back, where you might still be called to rise. This can be in career, or this could be with regards to relationships. This could be with regards to family or friends, or anywhere that you still feel that anxiety within the heart space of I don't know if I can express myself. I'm afraid of expressing myself. I'm afraid of being my true authentic self. Anywhere where you feel like your heart clench and your body tense up because you're afraid, what if they don't like me? Or what if they judge me? Or what if they criticize me or bully me or harass me? Or what if I'm not safe? What if I am not protected? What if I'm not secure here? What if this upends my stability? What if, right? But Divine Feminine, this is recognizing that you are always safe, you're always supported, and that's part of your empowerment. That's part of where you're being called to rise and what you're being called to recognize. I feel like Divine Feminines, you've done so much of that shadow work, and it's about looking at where there might be some residual energy of that shadow work. But the most important aspect for you now is the light aspect. And in the beginning of this channeling, we talked about the light aspect. It's about honoring yourself, choosing yourself, loving yourself, even in the most difficult circumstances and the most difficult decisions and situations. It's always about loving, honoring, and choosing yourself. And that's the light aspect of yourself. It's you might have spent a lifetime being criticized and judged. And now it's time for you to honor and love yourself and treat yourself as you maybe wished society or other people had treated you. That's where you're being called to rise now. And that's where you're being called to be honest with yourself. So, how can you shift this energy here? How can you shift this energy or continue to shift this energy? How can you continue to rise? How can you shift this energy? How can the Divine Feminine shift this energy? I'm getting this energy. We have the Knight of Wands. I'm hearing immediately take charge. Take charge. And I'm also hearing don't put other people on a pedestal. You have the Knight of Wands and the Three of Pentacles. And it's almost like take charge of your own life. Charge forward in your own life rather than waiting for somebody else to do it for you. Rather than waiting for somebody else rather than putting somebody else on a pedestal and waiting for instructions from others. You have that wisdom within you. Remember, you are the magician, you are the high priestess, you have that wisdom within you, and that's your own inner masculine. Now, what they're saying is not taking charge as in moving completely into your masculine energy, that you deny your feminine energy. I feel like for a lot of Divine Feminines, especially in this society, we have moved into our masculine energy because it feels like, well, nobody's going to do it for me, so I have to do it myself. It's that kind of energy. We get into this hyper independence energy, and part of our journey along this ascension cycle is to recognize that we're able to lean on others and ask for others for support. We're able to be in the receiving mode, which is our natural mode, and the more we're able to receive, the more we're then able to give. So that's not the energy that we're picking up on here. When we're saying take charge, it's not to anchor into your masculine energy full throttle and neglect your feminine energy. Remember, it's about the balance here. You have the Magician here. It's about the balance. It's about overcoming the one or the other and coming into that union. And so it's your masculine energy that takes charge, but you're doing it from an intuitive space, doing it from a place of honoring yourself rather than waiting for somebody to honor you or waiting for somebody to give you the go-ahead or the green light. You're trusting yourself to lead. I'm also getting this energy of collaborating with others, and collaboration and communication and community is extremely important, especially to the Divine Feminine energy. It's important to all, especially as we are experiencing whatever it is that we're experiencing in the world. Community is the key. Community will always be the key. Community and connection is so incredibly important for where we're headed as a better society, for what we're trying to create with regards to that unity consciousness. It's always important, but it's about recognizing yourself and not putting others ahead of yourself. You encourage, you support, you collaborate with others. And collaboration is the key word, but you don't put others on that pedestal. You recognize the divine within you. That's where you take charge. How will shifting this change your life, Divine Feminines? How will shifting this change your life? How will shifting this change your life, Divine Feminines? It'll bring a hell of a lot more balance in, that's for sure. So the Six of Pentacles, where you were overgiving, where it was very unbalanced, where there was kind of like a beggar energy, and so the Six of Pentacles, they want me to explain this and they want me to share what I'm seeing. So I'm seeing this energy of like feast or famine. That's the energy. It's like the beggar or the giver. It's feast or famine. I feel like, Divine Feminine, your life might have felt like it was feast or famine, and I feel like for the most part it was famine. But now there's this abundance coming in, and that abundance is coming in balance. It's not going to be that unequal scale anymore. It's not going to be that unequal lack of reciprocity anymore. It's going to bring you much more balance, and you're going to feel much more at peace and at home within yourself, and even I'm hearing at home within the world, because you're not sacrificing yourself. You're not giving over your power to anyone or anything. You've called that home within yourself and anchored that back into yourself, and that's your self-empowerment, and that's your embodiment. You are embodying the balance here. The balance. See? What energy is supporting this shift? What energy is supporting this shift? What energy is supporting this shift here? Oh, interesting. We have the Devil that flew out. It's breaking free. It's breaking free from the chains. It's almost like what I'm hearing. Remember, I kept seeing the Lovers card come out? It's like what I'm hearing is you had to recognize the contrast. You had to, maybe throughout your life, recognize where you were holding yourself back or keeping yourself trapped in some way, or chained and hooked in some way. You had to recognize the contrast in order to free yourself. And the antithesis of the Devil is the Lovers. So that's really interesting that that's coming out. It's like, I'll share this with you. This is an anecdote that they're drawing me to. I think it was about a year ago when I made the conscious decision. I was talking and processing some stuff with a soul sister, and I said, I don't want to experience pain anymore. I mean, nobody wants to experience pain. But I said, all of my life I have learned through the pain, and I'm grateful for those experiences. I'm grateful for the learning and the wisdom that it's brought, but I'm not learning through the pain anymore, through the suffering, through the struggle. And especially as an artist, I'll say that as well. For those of you who are artists, I feel like there is this archetype of the struggling artist. Whatever kind of art that you make, there's almost like in the society, there's a romanticized kind of energy about struggle. And I said, hell no. I don't want to experience that anymore. I know what joy feels like. I know what peace feels like. I know what love is. I want to experience through that peace. I want to experience through that joy. I want to learn through joy. That's the duality. That's the shadow and the light. The shadow was learning through the pain and the struggle, but we can make the conscious decision to break free from that. And once we are aware of it, once we make that conscious decision, then we move into the light aspect and honor ourselves through the joy, through the love, learning and acquiring the wisdom through the love and the joy. But I feel like it's the Devil energy is actually supportive here, because it's like, yes, you learned from the pain, you learned from the struggle, and you're breaking free from it. You can overcome this. You don't have to be attached to this anymore. The more that you're aware of that, the more that you can consciously choose differently. And that's what the Devil energy shows you. It shows you that you actually have the power to break free. That's really, really gorgeous. Yeah, we have the Ace of Swords and we have the King of Pentacles. It's like you have the power. I'm getting King Arthur energy here. And it's like the Ace of Swords is Excalibur. You have the power. You have the power within you. You have that truth. You have that clarity to break you free. And that's your inner masculine as well. Even though we're talking about the divine feminine here, that's your inner masculine. You have the Queen of Cups at the bottom, so that queen energy, but you have that inner masculine to help you feel safe and to ground this energy, and that's what the King of Pentacles represents. The King of Pentacles is somebody who is incredibly nurturing, who is a provider, who has that stability. It's like the father figure in the tarot. And it's like the feminine can feel safe to express herself. She can feel safe to break free from those limitations. She can feel safe to have been reborn and to shine her light as brightly as she's meant to. And the masculine here is going to support that and honor that and encourage that. It's beautiful, beautiful energy, but you might have needed to experience the devil energy. You might have needed to experience the contrast. And we're not talking about a person here. We're talking about an energy. You might have needed to experience the struggle in order to come back to yourself, reclaim those aspects of yourself, become aware of those missing pieces, become aware of the shadow, so that you can say no more, so that you can empower yourself, so that you could break free from those chains and overcome. Beautiful. Do let me know how you liked this reading. Do let me know how this felt for you. And if you'd like to see more of these, I think we might do some more spreads. I really enjoy this. It's a very different way of diving a little bit deeper. I, of course, like our, let's just see what's coming through. But this kind of concentrates the energy a little bit more, which is nice every once in a while to let us dive deeper into what's actually going on. All right, you guys, that's going to be it, and we'll be back. I'm going to be traveling for the next few weeks, but I'm going to try to come back with a couple of updates. So make sure you stay tuned to YouTube and subscribe. Make sure that you are following me on my socials. And while I do intend on being present in my travels, I might pop in for a reading or two and a couple of surprises. I'm sending so much love and so much light, and take care.